Hi, welcome to My Mercurial Nature. My name is Christina Brooke. Today we'll continue using Plottr to outline a novel from scratch. But before I get started, let me remind you to subscribe to my channel and to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch.
I want to do it all, and
Hi, it's Christina, and thanks for joining me. So, I lost the audio to this video, so I'm going to do the best that I can with this voiceover. But it looks like I started out by just going over what we did in the previous videos. We created a cover for our project. We added images to our image gallery, and we created a project and the book. We gave the project some notes with the story premise and some characters, and we used the snowflake method template for our character sheets. I also added an attribute career to the character sheet so I could keep track of that as well. And I added images for the characters as well as a synopsis and somewhat of a bio. If you need help figuring out your characters' personality and backstories, check out video 1 and 2. I also created a setting. So today we're going to move forward with plotting, and I'm using a modified version of the one-page novel method, which I learned about from E.A. Devereaux at her on her site. I took her course, and I have to tell you, it has completely changed my mind about plotting. I used to say that I was a pantser because I never quite fully got the plotting method, but this has completely changed my mind. And so rather than show you her whole plotting method, I urge you to go to her website, check out her YouTube channel and her video, and read up on the one-page outline to see maybe if the method works for you. In the meantime, I'm going to show you how I did it. And so the first thing I did was I went into the timeline portion of Plot, and you can change the aspect so you can have it with the plot on the left and the chapters on top, or you can flip it. I like to have the chapters on the left and the title of each plot line on the top, and so that's what I did. I am just showing you right now how to change the name of each plot line. What I did was I made a plot line for every main character. Then I created a main plot as well as a overall series plot line. And in using the one-page novel method of plotting, you plot in reverse order. So rather than starting with the beginning of the story, you would start with the resolution, the end of the story. So on the left side of this timeline, I am just listing the different steps within the plotting format. And you see I'm going back and forth between the one-page novel website or a blog post about the one-page novel format and Plottr so that I can get these in order. And I'm basically doing this one time right now, and I'll then save it as a template that I can use in other novels or if I need to restart for some reason. So the numbers that you see me adding to this timeline are the numbers for the order in which that sequence of events occurs. So 1 is the stasis, the beginning of the story. 2 is the trigger. That's the thing that sets the character off on their journey. Okay, 8 is how the story resolves, and so on. So as you see me putting in those numbers and those elements, know that I'm eventually going to reorder these in the correct numerical order so that I have a story in the right sequence. So as you can see, I now have all of the elements, and you can easily drag and drop a element to reorder it. So once your outline is complete, you can just go ahead and drag and drop each of one of these, and it'll bring all of the information on that line to the new spot. And then across the top, I am really going to focus on my characters. And you can change the colors. This is a really good visual way of keeping track of your characters. You can change the colors. And one of the things that I try to do is I try to use like the bright colors for the main characters and probably a muted tone for the supporting characters. And I try to keep all characters who are connected to each other in some way, shape, or form in the same hue. So if Luke's character is blue, then his brother would be another shade of blue, and his best friend may be another shade of blue. But if character one is pink and character one shares a mutual friend with character two who's blue, then I'll try and do like a purple because that's red and blue. But that's just how my mind works. You don't have to do that. Clearly, you can do whatever works for you. I'm just trying to give you some ideas of how Plottr makes things a little easier for me visually. And now I'm saving this as a template. I'm calling it OPN for one page novel. And I'm giving credit to the author as I know her, and saving that to my computer for use at a later date, because you never know when I will use it again. So what's good about Plottr is that you can create these templates. You can make them one time and then use them across multiple novels, and it takes a lot of stress. Like you can create the templates before you even start writing or thinking about your story. Just create the templates and then go back in and fill them in. Now, what I'm doing here is on the main plot line, I am putting what it says scene title, but what I do is I put like a sentence or two of what I think is going to happen within those scenes. Now, every story has scenes that a story has to include. For a romance novel, there has to be some sort of romance, right? A relationship. But this novel in particular is a happily ever after novel, so there has to be a happily ever after, which means that the two characters who fall in love, the two or more characters who fall in love, must be seen at a later date celebrating the state of their lives, the better state of their lives. So as I go through, I try and add up to two, up to three, maybe sometimes four, but I don't think I do any more than three scenes per plot point. Okay. And I do this for every character timeline that I have. And a lot of times, just typing it will result in me changing my premise, or I have a question and I figure something out, or even if I'm stuck, just by going to another point in the timeline, I'm able to unstick myself and create a story that works. This isn't to say that this outline is going to be perfect. Obviously, the outline changes as you're writing, but this is going to give me a really good point, a really good starting point. So I'm just going to let this play for a little bit and I'll put some music on so you can just see my outlining process and how I go between character sheets and notes and story premise to fill out this outline. So I want to point out that you can also drag your scene cards from one character to another. You can also move it from one plot point to another. So Plottr is very flexible. Don't feel like you have to get it right the first time. You can write out all your scenes and then move them around. That's totally up to you. I spend a lot of time on this part. So I'm going to speed this up for you and then we'll take a look at what I have so far. Okay, so once you get to a point where you think you have a lot of scenes, you can go ahead and click outline and that's going to show you your scenes in almost paragraph form. But because, again, because we're out of order, it's not going to make much sense. However, it's really good to go into the outline to kind of take a look at your text to make sure that what you put in there makes sense. You can also add images and other bits and pieces of information should you need to. You'll also see colors that correspond to your character colors, your timeline colors. So you can see where, maybe you haven't mentioned your main character in a long time and they need to have a scene, or you've mentioned this supporting character but you've only mentioned them once and they haven't been mentioned anywhere else, so it's good to view that. And now we're going back to the timeline to continue adding in more of our scenes. Um, my mouse moves a lot because I'm thinking. So I apologize for that. Don't get dizzy. But I'm going to go ahead and just put in more of my scene cards here. So here is my first pass at my outline for this story. Plottr allows you to fit the entire outline on one screen by clicking the fit button at the top. And I can flip the outline, so you can view it in different ways. You can filter characters. This is very helpful. So this is what I would use to write my story. This is like, the bulletin board in Scrivener or any other program or with index cards on your wall. It pretty much works the same way. And of course, you can view it in the outline form and you can filter by plotline. So if I just want to see Heather's plot or Luke's plot or the coupled plot, I could see that. And then each bullet point here would be an event or a beat that I know has to happen within my story. And sometimes I don't catch them all. Sometimes, I come up with others and I remove some. But like I said, this is a good starting point.
So, I want to do it all, and
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and give me a thumbs up.